Welcome to the Holistic Path podcast, where we explore mindful living, conscious choices, and the deeper connection between body, mind, and spirit. I am your host, and I am so glad you are here.
You know that little brown bottle, right? It's probably tucked away in your medicine cabinet. For a lot of us, it was the go-to for every scraped knee we ever had. But what if I told you that simple liquid has a kind of a double life? Turns out it's a vital part of our body's own defense system. And at the same time, if you misuse it, it can be seriously dangerous. So today, let's really get to know the two faces of hydrogen peroxide.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the basics, what actually makes this stuff so different from regular water. Then we'll dive into the most shocking part, its role inside our own bodies, where it's both a friend and a foe. After that, we'll get practical and sort out the smart ways to use it around the house versus the old habits you should probably drop. And we'll wrap up with a really critical warning about some dangerous myths you absolutely need to know about.
All right, let's jump right in at the beginning. We all know water, good old H₂O. But what exactly is the stuff in that brown bottle, and what makes it act so differently?
Well, its chemical name is hydrogen peroxide, and the formula is H₂O₂. See? 2 hydrogen atoms, 2 oxygen atoms. It looks just like water, feels like water, but its behavior is on a completely different level.
And here's why. It all comes down to this one tiny difference. On the left, you have water, H₂O, which is super stable. It's the molecule of life. But on the right, you've got hydrogen peroxide, H₂O₂. That one extra oxygen atom, well, it changes everything. It makes the entire molecule unstable and really, really reactive. So where does all its power come from? Well, that extra oxygen is just itching to break away from the molecule. And when it does, it becomes what's called a powerful oxidizer. That process can literally rip apart the outer layers of things like bacteria and viruses. It's the whole reason it works as a disinfectant.
Okay, so this powerful reactivity leads us to probably the most surprising fact about hydrogen peroxide. It isn't just a chemical in a bottle. It's actually being made inside your body right now. So what on earth is it doing in there? Is it a poison or is it a protector?
And this quote just nails it perfectly. Inside us, hydrogen peroxide is a true double-edged sword. Our bodies have this incredibly complex love-hate relationship with this molecule.
On the one hand, it's definitely a foe. It's a reactive oxygen species, which is a fancy way of saying it can cause damage to our cells, something called oxidative stress. That's why our bodies are smart and produce special enzymes, like one called catalase, to get rid of it really quickly. But, on the other hand, it's a friend. Our cells actually use it as a key signal to talk to each other. And, get this, our immune system uses it as a weapon.
Let's talk more about that weapon part, because it's pretty cool. Your frontline immune cells, these things called neutrophils and macrophages, they literally manufacture hydrogen peroxide on purpose. They unleash it in what's called a respiratory burst to create this hostile, toxic environment that just wipes out invading bacteria, viruses, you name it. It's basically your body's own internal cleaning crew.
Okay, so let's bring it back from our amazing biology to that humble brown bottle. Now that we have a better idea of its power, how can we actually put it to work safely and effectively around the house today? Here is a great, super practical example. Disinfecting your toothbrush. It couldn't be simpler. Just pour some of that standard 3% solution into a cup, pop the toothbrush head in, let it soak for maybe 15 minutes, and then just make sure you rinse it off really well before you use it. It's a fantastic way to kill any germs hanging out on the bristles. And beyond toothbrushes, it's a really solid disinfectant for things like countertops, and it's a great little booster for your white laundry. You can even use it as a mouthwash, but, and this is a big but, you have to dilute it first. Half water, half peroxide. And most importantly, never ever swallow it. We're going to get into exactly why in just a bit.
But hey, just as important as knowing what to do with it is knowing what not to do with it. Let's cover some of those common uses that used to be really popular, but science is now telling us, yeah, maybe we should skip those.
Okay, this is the big one. For generations, the minute someone got a cut, out came the brown bottle and you'd pour it on and watch it fizz like crazy. But is that something you should still be doing?
The answer from modern medicine is a pretty clear no. The problem is, while it's great at killing germs, that powerful oxidizing action doesn't know the difference between a bad guy and a good guy. It also damages your healthy new skin cells, the various cells your body needs to heal the wound. So it can actually slow down the healing process. These days, just stick to good old soap and water. All right, here's another popular myth, using hydrogen peroxide to treat acne. I mean, the logic seems to make sense, right? It kills bacteria. Acne is caused by bacteria, so it should work?
Yeah, this is another one you're going to want to avoid. It is just way too harsh for the delicate skin on your face. It can cause a lot of irritation and mess up your skin's natural protective barrier, which might even make your acne worse in the long run. You're much, much better off using products that are actually designed to treat acne.
So these outdated remedies bring us to our last and honestly our most important section, the downright dangerous myths and risks. And I mean it. The information we're about to cover is absolutely critical for anyone who keeps a bottle of this stuff in their house.
First thing to understand is that not all hydrogen peroxide is the same. That 3% stuff you buy at the pharmacy is pretty low risk. But the concentrations get higher for things like bleaching hair, and that can cause some real skin irritation. Then you get to industrial-grade stuff, over 30%. That is extremely dangerous and can cause severe chemical burns on contact.
But by far, the single most dangerous myth you might see floating around online is the idea that you should drink hydrogen peroxide for your health. Let me be absolutely crystal clear about this. There is zero, and I mean zero, scientific evidence that this does anything good for you. It is a completely baseless claim, and trying it can be fatal.
Look at this number, 20. Just 20. What do you think that number represents?
That is the number of people just in one 10-year study in the U.S. who either died or were left permanently disabled after they ingested high-concentration hydrogen peroxide. They often did it because they believed some false claim that it was a miracle healthcare. This is not a theoretical risk. This has devastating real-world consequences.
So what makes it so deadly? Well, when you swallow it, it causes horrific damage inside your body. It chemically burns your throat and stomach. As it breaks down, it releases a massive amount of oxygen gas, so fast that it can literally inflate and rupture your internal organs. And worst of all, if those oxygen bubbles get into your bloodstream, they can create a blockage, called a gas embolism, that can trigger a stroke or a heart attack. It is a terrifying medical emergency.
So there it is, one single molecule that's both a helpful household cleaner and a weapon for our own immune system, but also a serious poison when it's misunderstood. It truly has two very different faces. So the question is, now that you know both sides of the story, how will you handle that simple brown bottle with the respect it deserves?
Thank you for joining me on the Holistic Path. If this video helped you on your journey of body, soul, and purpose, please subscribe and hit the notification bell for weekly wellness wisdom. Check out these videos next to continue your transformation. Until next time, stay holistic.